thoroughly nasty piece of work. Now listen here, this is Platform32's review of Killzone 3, so if you know what's good for you, you'll get a move on. I don't want to hurt you. Go on, up the apples and pears. Go get me a Ruby Murray before it all goes Pete Tong. God bless you, Mary Poppins, Governor.
That's right, those lovable Mockney-Cockney space Nazis, the Helghast, are back, and they are once again trying to destroy peace and freedom the only way a bunch of super video game space Nazis can. Yep, you guessed it, with gigantic guns, massive robots and violent explodey thingies. These guys are super evil, and just in case you've forgotten how super evil they actually are, the intro cutscenes do everything they can to make sure you remember, throwing as much non-stop Nazi-esque imagery smack bang into your face pipes as is humanly possible in an intro movie. But just in case you were a little too simple to grasp the scale of evil that the developers were trying to convey, they pull one last trick to help prove that the Helghast are downright despicable douchebags. At the very start of the game, during the training mission, you play as a Helghast soldier. Sent to test your weapons at a space-age firing range, your superiors have you popping off shots at cardboard cutouts of hostages. Not armed soldiers, not big space monsters, nope, hostages, with their hands on their heads. Now, could this be the reason the Helghast keep losing battles? Not because they're rubbish at fighting wars, but because thanks to their absurd training techniques, they only shoot at people without weapons, leaving the gun-toting ISA to run up and pop a cap in their asses at close range. Oh, you silly Helghast. Ta-doo! Standing in their way are the heroic ISA troops, led once again by Sev, your character from Killzone Part 2, who in the 2 years between games still hasn't really developed any sort of personality. Both Sev and his rebellious partner in crime Rico are still little more than the basic action hero stereotypes that you will find in any military-based game. The best characters come from the Helghast, in the forms of Admiral Orlok and Johann Stahl, the two bickering bad guys who are superbly voiced by Ray Winston and Malcolm McDowell. They spit out their lines, conveying the anger, greed and spite of these two villains magnificently, and as such they make much more compelling characters than any of the boring by-the-numbers clonerific ISA troops.
Revenge! And the death of his killers!
I wasn't the biggest fan of Killzone 2's convoluted story mode, so the super cheesy cutscenes and blatant twist opening of Part 3 made me a bit concerned that history would once again be repeating itself and I would be left playing a lazily written corridor shooter with little to no variety present. But just as I was about to switch my brain off, I got slapped in the face by a gigantic WoW hand.
Yeah.
You see, where the campaign in the second game was a greyish slog through unending waves of the same enemy, Killzone 3 adds colour, awesome set pieces, and a whole load of variety to your bust-ups. Throughout your future jaunt, you will find yourself piloting huge war robots, manning the guns on dropships and tanks, and even taking to the sky in stolen Helghast jetpacks. The variations to the levels make the whole game flow so much better than its predecessor. You actually feel like you are taking part in a story with many cool, exciting chapters now, and because of this there were many points in the game where I was having so much fun I actually didn't want the section to end. One of my favourite segments of the game was a level set on an Arctic oil riggy thingy where you were attacked by Helghast on jetpacks. I absolutely loved shooting these guys because once you do, their packs malfunction and they rocket off into the sky and explode like giant space Nazi shaped fireworks before landing smack back down on the ground in a crumpled heap. Great fun to do, hilarious to watch, excellent. Killzone 3's controls are much tighter this time around. The developers have banished the wading through porridge movement of your character from the second game in favour of much smoother, faster and more fluid controls. The sense of weight and power to Sev remains, but you no longer feel like you're fighting against him rather than with him as you run around hammering Hellgans. This isn't the only change made with the controls though. Killzone 3 is fully Move compatible, and throughout my play I swapped between using Move and the joypad to test out how well it played. To my surprise, the Move controls worked amazingly well. It took a little while to get used to, but compared to the clumsy FPS Move sections on Time Crisis Raising Storm, this felt intuitive and, well, right. Especially when piloting a huge mech or firing a mounted machine gun. At these points, the controller actually added to the experience and made it much more absorbing. The graphics in the campaign are simply amazing and without a doubt some of the best I've ever seen on a console. There is really great attention to detail, plus it's nice to see that even in the future, on an alien planet, they still have toilets and velvety soft toilet roll. Ooh, soft. Stepping out of a door and into the middle of a frantic firefight in Killzone 3 is as close as you will get to actually being there in a current FPS. The sounds of bullets whizzing past, the distant screams, the dust, the changes in lighting, it all goes towards creating one of the most believable battle zones I have ever had the pleasure to go to war in. Sure, it's set on a distant futuristic planet, but even FPS games set in the present, like COD Blops, still have an air of unreality to them. Here, I can almost smell the gun smoke in the air and feel the heat from the nearby explosions. Your AI teammates are also slightly annoying. Rico especially would often walk in front of my sights while I was firing my weapon, blocking my shot and causing me to pop off a few rounds into the back of his thick skull. Seriously, what kind of a soldier walks in front of their comrades when they're firing? Hey? I'll tell you, in the real world, it's a dead one. So stop it, Rico, okay?
Covering fire!
Sadly, the story mode is very short. Short, but impressive. A bit like my Oh no, wait. The campaign will last you about 6 to 8 hours max if you play through on normal. So it's a good job there is an excellent multiplayer portion added on also. Consisting of 3 multiplayer modes, Warzone, a random mix of game types which veterans from the second game will be familiar with, Guerrilla Warfare, which is a fancy name for Team Deathmatch, and then my favourite of the bunch, Operations mode. This is a kind of mix between an online co-op campaign and the Warzone mode, and it features small storylines with different objectives to complete. Personally, I love the way the best players in the matches are featured heavily in the cutscenes which pop up between each objective. Oh look, there's me! Look, Platform32. Oh yeah, shoot him! Woo! Yeah! There I go!
Congratulations, man.
Sadly, only a handful of maps are available at the moment, but each of these is huge and they are just as awesome graphically as levels from the single player story. The soldier class system is back and there are 5 to choose from, including the engineer who can construct turrets and repair ammo crates, and the tactician who can capture strategic spawn points around the battlefield. Each has different abilities which can be unlocked over time, so finding which character suits you best and sticking with them means you will soon have a fully kitted out super soldier to play with. If this sounds awesome but you lack the necessary wires to go all internety, you could always try out the online action in Bot Zone, which replaces your human foes with AI enemies. I actually wouldn't recommend it though, it's painful. I mean, last time I tried to play with my girlfriend's Bot Zone, I got slapped in the face. Hard! Boo! Killzone 3 is the very definition of a must-buy game. It's big budget, visually stunning, and best of all, great fun. Sure, it's not very original, but rather than completely reinventing the franchise, Killzone 3 instead improves on the faults of its predecessor, and by doing so creates a much smoother ride and a far more enjoyable experience. So hell go and hell grab yourself a copy now before they all sell out, because that would be hell ghastly.
You, what are you still doing here? This review's over. Go on, sling your hook. Jump in an Andy McNabb and get the hell out of here. Make sure you don't have a pie and mash though, or there's gonna be one hell of a Barney Rubble, don't you know? Hogwarts, tea and scones.